Chapter 17. William sat down at a lunch table with Ruggs and Little Mike. Some reality dating show was on TV. William watched two girls in a spa with a guy competing over who gets him, while he asks them to do things for him like kiss each other or tell them their dirtiest secrets. William just shook his head and laughed. He got up and flipped the channel over to the news station and listened.
Looks like the riots are only getting worse, Dan. Let's see the horrible clip of that family being overrun by the big riot in Texas.
Upstairs, on the second floor in the poorly guarded and badly lit room, one of the two guards began to walk down the row of bodies as one of the patients started to fall over in his chair. The other guard told him while walking, "Careful, man. These guys are fucked up. They don't even sleep. They just sit there in their damn straitjackets and fucking breathe heavy. They're sweaty as hell, too. Fuck. Where are they gonna fix these goddamn lights? Shit." The other guard replied, I know, man, but fuck. The doctor told us to call if any of them had problems, and this one right here might have one. And I think the electrician is coming later today. Hey, it doesn't look like this guy here is even breathing. The bold, dark-eyed patient sat somewhat lifeless halfway onto his chair. His skin looked like rotten dough. The guard unbuttoned his stun gun and approached the semi-lifeless patient. The guard poked the patient with a nightstick. Nothing. No movement, no breathing. He called out to his bodyguard. "Hey man, he's not breathing. Tell Rick to get a doctor." The other guard nodded and opened the door behind him and notified the door guard of the news. The guard that stood by the patient then leaned down as he thought he heard gurgling sounds. Maybe he's choking, the guard thought to himself as he leaned in more to hear a little better. Suddenly, the patient gave out an awful, gargled scream and leapt at the guard. The guard's reaction time wasn't quick enough, and the crazed patient used the only thing that was free from the straitjacket: his teeth. Dirty, discolored teeth sank into the guard's neck as he screamed in agony and fear. "Ah! Fuck!" The patient then got a second bite right over the Adam's apple and quickly ended the guard's life. The other guard screamed in horror and ran over to beat the infested patient down. Doctors rushed in to find a bloody scene at the center of a tiled room, full of patients that just sat, not even flinching from the action. Ruggs and Little Mike seemed to be staring out the cafeteria window that led out to the courtyard. William looked out the same window to see if Mike was looking at anything in particular. At first, William saw nothing, but then realized there was a small butterfly fluttering outside. It was glowing from the spot of sunlight that peeked through the many random and beautifully imperfect gaps between the tree's branches and leaves. It's been 3 weeks since Dr. Young and William talked about the testing. It made his stomach turn with nervousness ever since that very day. William kept on as usual, though. Just as Dr. Young had told him, the medicine had practically no effect on him after a week and a couple days, except for the fact that it left William addicted to wintergreen-flavoured gum. Anywhere people saw William, they wouldn't catch him without a pack of it in his pocket and a stick already in his mouth. William also liked the way the gum made his mouth feel cold. The dreams were continuing for William after the medication wore off. He'd find himself in random people's worlds and memories, each time finding the overcast and fighting it. William would just hide his battle scars from Nurse Beth and not make a big fuss when he woke up abruptly from the nightmares. He couldn't believe some of the things coming from most of the people's minds here in the institution. He's dealt with rapists, murderers, abusive parents, molesting parents, and sometimes, on rare occasion, nightmares that made William understand why Logan's previously labelled dreamer was in the institution in the first place. William knew now why Logan called people dreamers. He figured that it fit us perfectly. Our whole lives are based on memories and dreams. We were creatures who lived in a delayed and rearranged world due to memory and judgment. William now figured that dreams are the ones responsible for all our technology. The only thing the human mind has that not many animals do is the use of long and short-term memory together. Every invention from the human is just a mimic of some animal, plant, microorganism, or subatomic behavior that we've seen before sometime in the past. It is in the dream world or subconscious that is full of memories and even has the ability to change the shape of those frozen memories, causing you to reinvent or relive the moment. Therefore, we take objects and apply them mechanically to the moment or memory. Dreams plus reality equal the reason for understanding. The conscious plus the subconscious equal a full and unbridled usage of the brain. To leave the world, you must live the memories. Little Mike turned to William and stared for a second. Then William, without even looking, said, "What's up, Mikey? What are you thinking?" Mike replied, "You look a little different, William. You look stronger." William laughed, saying, "How do you mean, Mike?" "It looks like you've been working out." William smiled. He had been working out, in fact. He decided he'd only eat the items that held the most protein that the institution had to offer. He also unscrewed the bedpost at the end of his bed and jammed it in the doorway to his closet. He sustained 100 push-ups, pull-ups, and dips every day. It gave his skin more color and took the bags out of his eyes, which was exactly what he wanted. William was eager to do this test and then finally get out. William also missed writing in his journal. He felt normal when he did it because all of his poems and thoughts were about relatable stuff. Almost like little mental anchors to keep him in check and not feel so heavy. He also thought that maybe he could help people if they needed any advice or simply needed something to relate to. Like how people find their own meaning behind a song they hear. When they find out what it's really about, it takes the fun out of it. Unless they can relate to what it's about, then it might actually help them. William once heard an extremely wise man tell him, "The universe's architecture is crystallized music." For some reason, that observation from the wise man connected certain dots for William. The concept of life being reduced to a vibrational energy absolutely enthralled him. Ruggs got up from the lunch table saying,
"I'm gonna get some more chicken."
Ruggs must have got up too fast for his own good, because his foot got caught in the chair and his lunch tray flew forward and crashed on the ground, making a horrible noise as Ruggs yelled out,
"Ah! Oh, shit, you shit!"
Ruggs smacked himself on the forehead while grunting.
"Oh, fucking fackle crack."
William laughed uncontrollably, as well as little Mike. Ruggs looked back, saying,
"It's not funny, dicks. Go off, won't you? Help me pick up this mess."
Mike got serious and got up to help. William kept laughing, but got up and helped clean as well. William said, "Watch your damn step, huh?" Ruggs replied back in a sarcastic tone.
"Yay, would if I could."
Ruggs then cracked a little smile as they all bent down and started cleaning salad that went everywhere, which was an extremely hard task for bare hands. Salad always really stuck to smooth and glossy surfaces. Mike said to Ruggs, "You should eat your greens, Rugger." Rugger said back,
"You're green."
Mike replied,
Nah, Rugger, don't be like that.
Ruggs replied.
"Thanks for helping."
Nurse Beth approached the men as they were all kneeling down on the floor cleaning the mess and said,
You gentlemen okay over here? What happened?
William responded, "Nothing, Nurse Beth. Ruggs just had a little... What did you call it again, Ruggs? I believe it was a flackle crack." Nurse Beth smiled, saying,
Well, here's some rags, Ruggs. Have fun, boys.
Ruggs said to William in delay.
"Yeah, that's it. I called it flackle crack. So what?"
William smirked, and then his face got serious as he looked at his watch, saying, I gotta go meet with Doc for our session. See you guys later." William took off quickly as Mike and Ruggs both kept wiping up the mess. "Bye, William," Mike said.
Yeah, later, ass.
Ruggs followed. William busted in Dr. Young's office, blurting, "Hey, I'm here." Dr. Young was writing on a pad. He looked up at William.
Hello, William. Right on time. Have a seat, son.
William sat down and caught his breath. Dr. Young said,
Why the rush, William? You know, I don't mind if you're a minute late or so.
William replied, "Yeah, I know, Doc. I'm just sick of being late to everything all the time, you know?" Doc smiled and replied,
Yeah, I know how that feels.
Dr. Young then said,
So, William, where do you want to start today?
William thought for a second and then said, "Well, actually, I'd like you to label these in my journal today. There are two things that have been on my mind." Dr. Young happily pulled Broken Iris out of the drawer and readied his pen. William was starting to get curious about what Doc's notes actually said in his journal. He figured it would give him something to look forward to reading when he finally gets out of here and goes home again. With that in mind, William started right in. "We'll call this first one, Welcome to the One-Track Minded Age," Doc said back as he wrote it.
Oh, I like that. Go on.
William continued. "Well, here it goes. Okay, so I keep having this vision, Doc," Dr. Young replied.
Oh? What vision is this, William?
William replied, "Well, after watching commercial after commercial and seeing all of these shows on TV, I noticed that all of the products are always just about being one step better than its competitor. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm not saying that I don't believe they actually want their product to be better, rather than just faking it's better to make the extra dollar. I feel they have good intentions, but it's going a little too far these days with how people, in general, take it. Think about it. Do we really need half the shit they advertise on TV? Anyway, back to the vision. I see this track high in the air. I see all these people on it, single file. They're just standing on it, staring blankly at the track's destination, which leads to a shiny, bright light. Now, that light stands for many things, Doc. Safe passage to heaven, a new car, a hotter woman, better man, more money, more fame. On the outside of the track is all of nature. Picture the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen glistening over a paradise-like setting. Then picture these idiots on the track completely bypassing their whole lives. Then I see gigantic machines roaming around and plucking people from the track just when they get near the facade of bright light and throwing them into a bucket. Then the floating machine dumps the people into itself like they're its food. The machines are what we like to call our economy. Now listen, I know that the economy should be great. I would never doubt that. Yet when it's too much to the point that people waste their whole lives heading down that path, some people fall off track and land safely into a beautiful yet scary setting. That's how life should feel, by the way. Amazing yet scary. It makes you feel alive. Anyway, they fall into this setting and stand next to those who have been off the track for quite some time and watch the brutal nature of it all from a safe distance. The people who fall off the track ask those other people, "What is this?" The other people reply, "Welcome to the one-track minded age." That's my vision for that. Dr. Young was frantically writing, as the words seemed to flow from William's mouth like he was giving a speech that he had rehearsed for years. Doc finally finished and gasped, saying with sarcasm,
Is that all?
William said, "Well, I guess my conclusion is that we teach our kids to behave like this as soon as school starts. We let them make the same mistakes as the outside society and the cycle continues. Popularity, fashion, and sex. Instead of teaching them something along the lines of, hey, Society's acting like a bunch of lunatics. It's up to you kids to listen to me, the hypocrite, and not become like me. Then maybe the kids will slightly understand that in the midst of wrong, a right move must be made. Dr. Young was surprised at William's maturity so far. It was only months ago when William seemed like a troubled young man from the incident, which worried Dr. Young. He thought maybe William had been a little too occupied with other patients and his forgotten dreams. He still had a rude awakening about that dark day. He still had healing to do. This particular session was not that moment, though. He returned to William's observations. William didn't just find the problem like every other being. He attempts at a solution now, which is the most important part in the eyes of a doctor like himself. Dr. Young finished writing his own thoughts on this for William to read later and then said,
Okay, William, what was the second vision or thought?
William sat back, satisfied with what he had just told Doc, and then went on to the second one. This is more of something that I imagine experiencing, but never actually have. David sprouted this one. It's all simply the thought that I keep trying to find answers in life. Big answers, like about religion, God, no God, science, Buddha, you name it. As far as I'm concerned, most of the theories, faiths, and beliefs in this world are actually quite believable and wise. Enriched with wisdom, even. As if that wisdom had been harvested through experience over ages. When you just sit down and read about them with an open heart, you find deeper meaning. I realize, though, maybe it's not about finding answers so much. Maybe my whole life I've been prying inside, but the whole time the answers appeared in just that. Dr. Young squinted his brows and asked,
Just what?
My life. Simple, easy, relieving. My life is indeed the answer to the question of life itself. One day I'll climb a mountain and camp on the summit and feel satisfaction staring at the stars as I breathe the crisp, cold mountain air. Another day I'll have a child of my own and relive all the things that I don't feel anymore. Excitement for holidays, watching a whale swim in a gigantic tank at a sea park, learning about the cosmos for the first time. I'll see the great wonder and gleam in that little person's eyes and get to feel it myself once more. Feel the shock and awe that this world and universe has to offer. I can't wait to live my life now, Doc. But it may all be threatened by what's to come of this damn disease. I'm still excited, though. I get it now. I guess you could say I believe in everything. Humans, religions, science, love of mankind. Shit. Ruggs, David, and Little Mike made me love mankind alone. I believe it now. Oh, yeah. Call that one right there Unfolding Time. It's my momentary true peace with existence. And I would never question its design ever again. I'll just take it in for what beauty it holds. Dr. Young felt excited and sad for William as he finished writing down more of William's thoughts. It was bittersweet knowing what William could not remember. He only knew it in dry fact and not the horrid trauma that it was. He still knew what was really at hand here, though, and that indeed he would love to see William go and experience these things. He knew that for just a little longer, his place was here in the institution, just until the healing was done and the testing was complete. There's no way in Doc's mind that he'd keep William from experiencing what he had just described. Or at least, no intention.
To continue the journey, please insert disc 5.